Hello everyone, it's good to see you. Let's take a look at the questions. I just saw a question, which is about what to do if a child with this kind of number doesn't like to study. Regarding children who don't want to study or don't like studying, first of all, we need to understand that children with this type of 17 numeric category or 12 numeric category naturally have difficulty sitting still for long periods and staying in one place for a long time. The method of rote learning is very difficult for them because children like this prefer more active, more interesting, more engaging ways and more fun ways. When it comes to learning, we also need to understand one thing, especially with children. If the child has just started elementary school, we must realize something. Does the information shown by the number phenomenon only relate to this child? Is it only related to this child? In other words, do all the problems originate from this child just because the child was born this way? Does it mean that they just don't like studying? Their grades are bad and they're not smart? The information revealed by numbers phenomena is not just about us as individuals. For example, when it comes to a person's phone number, do we say it only relates to that person, their thoughts, their behaviors, their actions, or what kind of job they'll have in the future? Is it only about their personal information? Not at all, not at all. A person's phone number also contains information about their entire family. This includes his parents, the environment he grew up in, the way he was educated as a child, and even whether or not he likes to read. Actually, in my offline lectures, I've met some parents before who have asked similar questions. Teacher, why doesn't my child like to study? Why doesn't he like to read? He won't even touch a book. As soon as they get home, they want to watch their tablet or play games on their phone. Let me ask you a question that you need to think about. Do you like reading? Do you have the habit of reading in your daily life? What are your hobbies and interests in your everyday life? Many parents in their daily lives have hobbies like scrolling through short videos, playing games, watching the news, watching gossip. It's just so enjoyable. Life feels so comfortable and easy. So what about the children who grow up in this kind of environment? What kind of mindset is instilled in them from a young age? What kind of thinking do they naturally develop as they grow up? Neither my parents read books. They like to watch short videos and watch some entertainment gossip. And like to spend all their time on all sorts of entertainment and play. Then for this child, what is interesting? What is fun? What is easy to accept? It definitely won't be reading books. So when we ask this question, teacher, why doesn't my child read? Is it related to their environment? Is it related to their upbringing? Is it because the child isn't good at it? What I want to tell you is, in this world, there has never been such a thing as a certain set of numbers being particularly bad. So bad that it causes our child not to work hard, not to read, not to succeed, and to amount to nothing when they grow up. And often, we tend to choose the easy way out. What is the easy way out? We put all the blame on the numbers, we blame the environment, we say it's all the numbers' fault, that this number is bad, so that's why the child is like this now. But in reality, what we really need to reflect on is our actual lives. Ourselves. Let's ask ourselves honestly, do we like reading? How much of our own day do we actually spend reading? How much time do we truly devote to reading? How much time do we spend quietly, with focus? How much time do we really spend learning? If you don't do any of these things, then why do you insist on demanding them from your child? Previously, in one of my lectures, a parent once responded to me, teacher, this is different. I'm already working, but children are supposed to study. Studying is their main task in life right now. If they don't do well in their studies, what can they possibly do in the future? At the time, I spoke passionately, but we need to understand. This reasoning isn't wrong. We are all facing all kinds of heavy workloads, everyone is. But once you understand numbers phenomena, you'll realize something. It's not as simple as you might think. These numbers related to a child, like the phone number they'll use in the future, including all kinds of passwords they set for themselves, and the various registration numbers they'll have throughout their life. How are these formed? For example, their environment as they grow up includes you. As parents, every moment in daily life, every action you take, every word you say, every thought you have, every emotion you display, and every stance and choice you make regarding matters big and small in life, these are things you might have already forgotten. I don't remember. But the information within numbers phenomena, it will reveal itself, it will be recorded. It will be passed on to the next generation, carried into the numbers your child uses. Just like the question from our audience earlier, this friend's question. I can't find it anymore either. This friend's question. If a child has this kind of number, is it because of the number? Is that why the child doesn't study? We need to understand that having a sequence like 1217 in a child's phone number also represents something. What kind of environment is this child facing? What kind of environment did they grow up in? Elementary school students. Nowadays, even elementary school students have phones and use phone numbers. As soon as we start independently using a set of numbers in our lives, a lot of our personal information basically becomes clear. So, does this number contain all the information about a child? That's right, you're correct. It does represent all aspects of the child's information. However, within this comprehensive information, what else does it record? What kind of environment did he grow up in from childhood to now? What kind of environment was it? He lived in a lively environment, an environment where the family cannot settle down nor calm down, an environment that is constantly filled with noises. If a child has this kind of number at home, usually it means that among the parents or family members, they tend to argue frequently with very bad tempers and a lot of volatility. When they argue, neither side is willing to give in. How could I let you win? If I lose face. People with the 12-17 combination care too much about saving face. Face is more important than anything else, especially during arguments. Even when making a point, they can't afford to lose face. This is the mindset that people with this combination display when they argue. What kind of thinking does this reveal? So what other kinds of situations are there? We need to understand that, for us, a little bickering or an argument is nothing out of the ordinary. Every time there's a conflict, we just think it's over once it's over. We argue and then forget about it. This is especially true for people with the 12-17 type, who tend to be quite thick-skinned. After an argument, they just forget about it and don't hold grudges. But even if you don't hold grudges, everything you've done will be reflected in the information shown by the number phenomenon. That's why it appears in the numbers of this elementary school child's code. This comes from the family environment, from the way parents communicate and from the little details of daily life. These shape and form the path of the child's future life. That's why teachers often say that everything we do will have its consequences. Will those consequences be positive or negative? Will there be more good or more bad in a person's life? All of this is reflected in the information shown by our number phenomenon. So aside from this kind of environment, what else is this child facing? They are also facing criticism from their parents. Let's compare. What kind of number sequence do you have? Is there any similarity with the child's? To protect privacy, any numbers shared in our live stream must be partially hidden. At least three digits must be concealed. We can see what the father's numbers look like. The mother's number also has a similar sequence. It's a similar combination. I wonder if everyone has heard this saying before. A child is like a mirror reflecting their parents. This saying is more or less accurate. Why is it that a child is like a mirror for their parents? The way you were when you were studying and everything you did when you were young. You say this child doesn't like to study and has a bad temper. But what about your own state? You possess the same kind of numeric combination, whether it's at work or in daily life. If you have a particularly bad temper and often lose your temper, for example, with number sequences like 12-17, your words can be very harsh, your mouth is like a knife, and what you say can hurt like a weapon. Does speaking this way have its advantages? Yes, it does have its advantages. But does speaking this way have its drawbacks, especially when it comes to those who love and care about you, your relatives and family members? When you speak, you show no mercy at all. So why does this child have such a bad temper and dislike studying? The environment he grew up in was just like this. My dearest parents, the people I respect the most, the ones who have given me everything in my life, the way they face life is exactly like this. At work, when they encounter setbacks, they start cursing and swearing. When the two of them have disagreements, neither is willing to give in. They clash head-on like two sharp needles meeting point to point. They use the most hurtful words to strike back at each other, just to win the battle in this argument. This is what the child learns. So we often say numbers phenomena and its role in our lives. It absolutely does not affect just one person, not just a single individual life. It carries the information of our lives. It is passed down from generation to generation. A child may have a bad temper, walk on tiptoes, and dislike studying. The reasons for this come from a complex combination of many factors. So change must start with ourselves. We need to recognize the problems we have in our own lives. It may not even be a problem. Every issue, when we see it, face it, and learn from it, will no longer be a problem, but instead become the most valuable experience in our lives. But in our daily lives, we can't see it, hear it, or understand it. What's wrong with me having a bad temper? What's wrong with not being able to hold back from arguing during a quarrel? But I'm the parent after all. Now that I've reached working age and I'm earning money for the family, I shouldn't have to study anymore. When I get home, I just watch some short videos, play some games. It's time for me to relax after a long day. But it's different for kids. We often have this kind of mindset. The vast majority of people, when faced with difficulties, don't really confront themselves or look at the fundamental reasons behind their troubles, worries, or problems. They don't reflect on every action they've taken or every thought they've had in their lives. When facing each choice, do we really know what we're doing when we can't see our own small efforts? Children become a mirror in our lives, not just children actually. It's not only children, every person and every event that appears in our lives. They are all vivid reflections and portrayals of our own lives. They are showing us something. So when you encounter difficulties, don't be so anxious. Don't be so afraid. Don't be so irritable. Don't be so impulsive. It doesn't help. It's useless. At times like this, many people will say, "Teacher, that's why I go looking for all kinds of methods." To improve my child, to help my child. It is easy to go wrong in such a hurry, anxiously seeking medical treatment. You end up choosing the wrong methods. Parents all over the world love their children. What parent doesn't care for their child? I've seen some parents, when they're anxious, do the most absurd things. I've witnessed cases around me where they actually go to temples to pray for blessings or buy talismans. They spend quite a bit of money. Just one talisman can cost several hundred yen, sometimes even over 1,000. It depends on what kind of magical power or how much energy you want, how many days the incantation has been chanted, and then you take it home. What do you do with it? At this point, they tell you to burn it to ashes, dissolve it in water, and have your child drink it. This is something I have personally witnessed. This was told to me directly by a pair of parents. I asked them, "Did it work? Did it really work?" They said, "Teacher, in the short term, it really did work. After drinking it, what happened?"